Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Rachel from Snaps Tools. In today's video, I will guide you through each step to create this super simple yet adorable little chicken charm. We can hang it on our phone, bag, or keys. It looks cute anywhere. The larger one was made using one strand of 5-ply yarn, while the smaller one was made with one strand of 4-ply yarn. In the video, yellow 5-ply yarn is used so that each stitch can be seen clearly. When you crochet it yourself, you can try using 4-ply yellow yarn or a thicker coral fleece yarn. Both will give great results. Now let's get started crocheting it. First, we will use one strand of 5-ply yellow yarn to crochet the chicken's body. Now, let's start with a magic ring. Then, let's make a knot. Please note that this knot does not count as the first stitch. Then, let's work 6 single crochets into the ring. We can place a stitch marker in the first stitch to help us easily find the first stitch when starting the next round. Please finish the remaining 3 single crochets on your own. Now 6 single crochets are done. Then, let's pull the ring tight. Next, let's join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Then chain 1. Next, let's move on to round 2. In round 2, let's work 2 single crochets into each stitch, for a total of 12 single crochets. Here's a tip. Let's work the first single crochet increase into the first stitch, where we just made the slip stitch. Here's a tip. We can place the extra yarn tail under the hook and crochet over it to hide it as we go. Please finish the remaining 4 single crochet increases on your own. Now round 2 is done, and we should have 12 single crochets in total. Next, let's join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Then chain 1. Next, let's move on to round 3. In round 3, first, let's work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, where we just made the slip stitch. Then let's work 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Please finish the remaining 5 sets of 1 single crochet plus 1 single crochet increase on your own. Now round 3 is done, and we should have 18 single crochets in total. Next, let's join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Then chain 1. Next, let's move on to round 4. In round 4, first, let's work 1 single crochet into the first stitch, where we just made the slip stitch. Then let's work 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Then let's work 1 single crochet into the following stitch. Next, let's repeat the pattern 5 more times. After round 4 is done, we should have 24 single crochets in total. Next, let's join with a slip stitch to the first stitch, then chain 1. Next, let's move on to round 5. In round 5, in the first 3 stitches, let's work 1 single crochet into each stitch, for a total of 3 single crochets. Then let's work 2 single crochets into the next stitch. Next, let's repeat the pattern 5 more times. After round 5 is done, we should have 30 single crochets in total. Next, let's join with a slip stitch to the first stitch, then chain 1. Next, let's move on to round 6. The pattern for round 6 to round 12 will be the same. Let's keep working 30 single crochets in each round. Please finish the remaining single crochets on your own. Now round 6 to round 12 are done. Here's a tip. At the end of each round, please don't forget to join with a slip stitch to the first stitch, then chain 1 before starting the next round. Next, let's join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Then chain 1. Next, let's move on to round 13. In round 13, first, let's fold the chicken's body in half. Then let's work 15 single crochets through both sides of the stitches. Before finishing the remaining single crochets, let's add some stuffing into the chicken's body. Once the filling is in place, let's continue crocheting the last 6 single crochets. Now 15 single crochets are done. At this point, the chicken's body is finished. Finally, let's cut the yarn and weave the yarn tail into the stitches to hide it. Next, let's move on to crocheting the chicken's comb. First, let's count 4 stitches from left to right. Then, let's insert the hook into the 4th stitch. Then, let's attach the orange-red yarn. Then let's chain 3. Now 3 chains are done. Next, let's skip the 3rd chain, then make 1 slip stitch into the half loop of the 2nd chain. Then let's work 1 single crochet into the half loop of the 1st chain. Then, let's join with a slip stitch to the next stitch. Then let's chain 3. Now 3 chains are done. Next, let's skip the 3rd chain, then make 1 slip stitch into the half loop of the 2nd chain. Then, let's work 1 single crochet into the half loop of the 1st chain. Then, let's join with a slip stitch to the next stitch. Then let's chain 3. Now 3 chains are done. Next, let's skip the 3rd chain, then make 1 slip stitch into the half loop of the 2nd chain. Then, let's work 1 single crochet into the half loop of the 1st chain. Then let's chain 1. At this point, the chicken's comb is finished. Finally, let's cut the yarn and leave a long tail for sewing and securing the chicken's comb in place. Please weave the yarn tail into the chicken's body to hide it. Next, let's move on to crocheting the chicken's beak. First, let's insert the hook between round 11 and round 12 of the chicken's body. Then, let's attach the orange-red yarn. Then let's chain 2. Now 2 chains are done. Next, let's skip the second chain, then make 1 slip stitch into the half loop of the first chain. At this point, the chicken's beak is finished. Next, let's cut the yarn and leave a long tail for sewing and securing the chicken's beak in place. Please weave the yarn tail into the chicken's body to hide it. Next, let's move on to crocheting the chicken's eyes. Now, let's start with a magic ring. Then, let's make a knot. Please note that this knot does not count as the first stitch. Then, let's work 6 single crochets into the ring. Now 6 single crochets are done. Then, let's pull the ring tight. Next, please do not join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. We can cut the yarn directly. Then, I'll show you how to do a seamless finishing. First, let's thread the yarn tail into the first stitch. Then, let's thread the yarn tail back into the half loop of the last stitch. Finally, let's pull the yarn tail tight and weave it into the stitches to hide it. And we need a total of 2 eyes. Please follow the video to crochet another one. After finishing the eyes, let's glue a black pupil onto each eye white. Then let's glue the eyes onto the chicken. At this point, the chicken's eyes are finished. Next, let's move on to crocheting the hanging cord. First, let's count 8 stitches from right to left. Then let's insert the hook into the 8th stitch. Then, let's attach the blue yarn. Then let's chain 30. Now 30 chains are done. Next, let's cut the yarn and leave a long tail for sewing and securing the hanging cord in place. Please weave the yarn tail into the chicken's body to hide it. Now our adorable chicken is all finished. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.